So, what is the speciality of Rohtak?
Sir, the Revdis and Gajjaks of Rohtak are very famous across Haryana and nearby region.
Okay, so Ashish, you did engineering and computer science, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and after that, you went for software job for a year
Yes, sir.
before joining uh, Central Excise, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're working as as an inspector.
Inspector.
Now, can you quickly and briefly, in a lucid manner, explain me what is GST?
Sir, GST is a single integrated comprehensive tax for the entire country that is applicable on both goods and services, which has uniform rate all across the country in different states, irrespective of state borders.
Okay, so why there are so many problems? I mean, since the day GST is implemented, people are talking. There has been criticism. There has not been talk about it. The teething problem that is coming in. So why people are criticizing GST?
Sir, GST is one of the biggest tax reforms in the history of India after independence. So, being such a reform of such magnitude, there are bound to be some challenges where the number of SSCs have almost doubled. Now, both center and states are coordinating with regard to the taxation regime and providing such technical support to all the states is a big challenge. While the government has also resolved a number of challenges, and some challenges are under the process of being resolution.
Okay. Now, do you see any difference, any change after implementation of GST? Has it bring any change?
Sir, after the implementation of GST, the number of SSCs have increased from 65 lakh in the erstwhile central excise and customs regime to 1.2 crore. So the tax base has expanded. Then the total revenue of the government in many of the months has crossed 1 trillion rupees. That is 1 lakh rupees, which is also a big feat. Then the ease of doing business has improved, and the investment climate has also improved, as is also visible in ease of doing business ranking of the World Bank.
Now, since given your experience of almost 9 years in this field, so you must be knowing in and out about GST and its implementation. Now, there as we talked about the problems and teething problems and criticism, what are the three changes that you would like to incorporate in GST to make it more smooth and more beneficial to business class?
So to make it uh, more simplifier for the business, it is required to ensure that the number of forms that are currently being filled should be reduced, as it will enable them to expedite their returns filing, and they can focus. The business can focus more on doing business rather than paying taxes. So it will also majorly positively impact the medium and small industries. Secondly, I would say that a number of leakages have been introduced into have introduced into the system, which can be overcome by introduction of various technologies that are also being thought about, such as invoice matching and e-waybill system in its manner of implementation has also positively impacted in that regard. Then, sir, I think the better coordination between GST department and income tax department can help to weed out the non-taxpayers and willful defaulters, so that the tax base and tax revenue can be increased.
Okay. Now that you see, because of this recent conflict with China, there was this campaign of ban China or reject Chinese products. how feasible or how practical is this call of banning or rejecting Chinese product? What do you think?
Sir, the said action was taken in order to give China a message that if there are skirmishes along the border, the business as usual in economic terms will not proceed. So it was a sense of a message to the Chinese establishment. If we talk into the practical aspect of it, there is a need to ensure that both countries are dependent on each other for import and export, while India is more dependent on them. So, in the long term, India should ensure that the domestic industries prosper well, so that India's dependency on China, be it on active pharmaceutical ingredients or semiconductor chips or chemicals, is reduced. While India, in its path, becomes a Atam Nirbhar, as has been referred by the government.
What different thing China did to reach to this level? Because in till 1947, India was ahead of China. So how China approached their economy differently, that India is still lagging while China has become a superpower?
Sir, the major reason for China growing more than India is that China opened its economy much before India. China opened its economy about in 1980s. India was that they had a 10-year advantage, time advantage. Then they focused on research and development as well. While India's expenditure on research is still 0.7% of the GDP, while China has about 2% of expenditure on GDP. Then their low costs and support to the manufacturing industries through financial institutions, formal financial institutions, also played a major role in it becoming a major exporting hub and almost 13 to 14 trillion dollar economy.
Okay. Now that China is a kind of world power, if not number one, they are definitely number two. And now they are trying to arm twist India by raising border issues with India. Every other year they come up with a new claim. So what exactly should India do to resolve this border issue?
Sir, in the short term, India must ensure whenever there are incidents such as this, the negotiations must take place, while at the same time, the disengagement must not be complete unless and until the status quo ante is not established. If China does not move back from where they started, the discussions must continue and there should be no compromise on territorial integrity. Then, in the long term, India can concentrate on developing its own military power and procurement of more military weapons and ammunitions. Which and at the same time we can develop a mountain corps which can handle China, which can take on China if their need arises. Then collaboration with a number of countries that have similar minded like-minded countries such as quad grouping can also ensure that the Chinese aggressive policy is restricted.
Should India align with Quad Group and start a campaign of banning China?
Sir, banning as a China is not in the interest of any of the Asian countries because all are regionally integrated and hugely dependent on China. So there should be a message given to China that the things cannot continue as they are being done. So it should be more in the form of a more symbolic form rather than banning or putting restrictions on China or sanctions on China.
See, in World War One, then in World War Two, the winners actually imposed heavy sanctions and fines on the losers. That is Germany and its allies.
Yes,
Now China is creating chaos with India, with Taiwan, with Japan, and now it is arm twisting. given its economic might. And then we have got this coronavirus spread from China. China has had actually hidden all the key facts. So why shouldn't there be a fine imposed on China because of this lockdown and the economic loss that the world incurred because of this virus spread?
Sir, with regard to fine, a number of countries are protesting against the Chinese establishment with regard to coming up with the facts that were hidden. So, and they are also demanding a wholesome investigation into the matter and the handling of the pandemic by the WHO as well. So, it should be after the collective science of the United Nations General Assembly. If they think that it was deliberate attempt of the China to suppress the information, and then punitive actions can be taken.
Now that Corona is here, number of cases have crossed, I think, 12 millions across the world. India is approaching a million case now. What do you think? Uh, when and how would this epidemic end? Or would there be any end at all?
Sir, yes, definitely there is going to be an end. As we have seen in the number of countries who have flattened their curve, and in many of Indian states as well, for example, Delhi, which once showed that 4,000 cases were coming every day. Now they have reduced the number of cases. Simultaneously, more testing is required. We have improved testing infrastructure in a big way, and we are daily improving it. Then health infrastructure is also being ramped up. So I think, sir, as soon as the vaccine comes out and at the same time the curve is flattened, I think it can be tackled within a period, if I say, as per my judgment, it can be tackled in 6 to 8 months.
Now, there is this doubt that I have about the vaccine because, see, this is a virus. HIV is also a virus, and it has been more than 30 years that scientists have been trying to find a vaccine for HIV, and they are unsuccessful. So, why do you think that there could be a vaccine for corona while we don't have any vaccine for HIV, which is also a virus?
So, sir, human immunodeficiency virus is such a virus. It is a simple virus. It the most problematic part of that is it regularly changes its form. So whenever the scientists and researchers try to create a vaccine that can create antibodies to fight the virus, it changes its form and it is difficult to control. While
But the
no
similar
such
thing is happening with the,
no such
corona also. They have got different mutations. The Indian mutation is different from Chinese, and so is it different from American mutation.
Yes, sir. There are patients, but with the recent trials, uh, phase 3 trials are going on in some of the countries with regard to vaccination. The phase 1 trials have started for the Covaxin in India. So some vaccines are showing promising returns, are showing promising signs. So there is a possibility that coronavirus can be found out.
Okay, so you think that there is a chance of a vaccine. So, what do you think? How many companies are there, and at what stage are they in vaccine development?
Sir, overall, as per my information, 40 companies have been approved all over the world to conduct trials, out of which two are in India. Then Indian company Bharat Biotech is in the first stage of its first phase of the trial, while some American companies are in the stage 3 of the trial.
So, tell me something. What are the different approaches that these companies have taken to find the vaccine?
Sir, I am not aware of that. I will look into it.
Now that we are repeatedly talking about vaccine, and then we talk about medicine also. So what is the difference between a medicine and a vaccine?
So vaccine is given when an individual has not been infected by a disease, and it creates the antibodies in the body which can fight the disease whenever an individual catches the disease. While medicines are given when an individual has already been infected.
Okay. Ashish, you played badminton also, right?
Sir,
What is called tennis elbow?
sir, tennis elbow is a injury that occurs at the elbow. Mm, it became when Sachin Tendulkar got it number of years back.
What
That is
exactly
what I know,
happens?
sir.
What exactly triggers that kind of elbow, and what happens? What is the symptom and what provokes it?
Sir, I have to look into it. I will look
Okay.
into it, sir.
So you have participated at the district level, right?
Sir, yes, sir.
Who is the current world champion in men's badminton?
Lin Dan used to be world champion, but now he has retired. The present world
Mhm.
champion, I'm not aware. Maybe Victor Election, but I'm not sure, sir.
You're not sure. Okay, Ashish, one last question from my side. Recently, I mean, historically, there has been a dispute between Afghanistan, Taliban and India. Taliban had always been against India, but recently, to everybody's surprise, the spokesperson of Taliban said that Kashmir is India's internal matter, and Taliban would not interfere in this. How exactly do you see this?
Sir, as planned, after the withdrawal of US forces, there is a huge probability that Taliban as well as the democratic government will function in coordination and cooperation as is expected of them. So India has made a huge investment and Taliban is going to be part of the government over there. So India has also been on the part of changing its stance with regard to negotiations with Taliban, while Taliban is also diluting its strong opinion against India so that Afghanistan can prosper and they can continue their hold in the Afghan government.
Now, one more question that I would like to ask. Recently, Indian Railway decided to start 150 private trains. So, do you support privatization of uh, government agencies?
Sir, privatization per se is mm, is good for the government agencies. For example, if we take the case of railways, then it is expected to improve efficiency. It will reduce the transit time. It will improve safety, while at the same time the government expenses will also be reduced. And with regard to other agencies, mm, for example, it be BPCL or other oil companies, then it brings a management change or the professional values of the private sector can be inculcated in the government sector. Sir, but it needs to be ensured that private does not operate in a vacuum and it does not operate solely for the purpose of profit gains. So effective regulation by the government is necessary in that regard.
Mhm. Okay, Ashish. I now would like to pass it on to Sweta.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hi Ashish, how are you?
Hello, ma'am. I'm fine, ma'am. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, Ashish. So let's start with Haryana. You belong to a state which is known on one side with its economic growth because of the green revolution and a lot of industry. So quite we can consider it as in the category of developed states, right? But on the very other hand, we have very bleak issues over there, like female feticide. The sex ratio is not very good in the state, and on the other hand, we have the issues like khap panchayats. So, how are you going to justify this dichotomy of economic growth on one side and social problems on the other side? How are you going to how do you view this dichotomy?
Ma'am, undoubtedly the dichotomy in the state of Haryana exists. It is because uh, Haryana has been an agricultural land, and because of green revolution, the per capita income of people have increased. At the same time, the attachedness to the land has also increased. So people are not willing to part away with their land to be given to the daughter. So, so they want that the land and property must remain with the son. So, in that regard, patriarchy has also perpetuated generation after generation, and incidents that is Kha panchayats also hold political clout in the state as well. So there has been a continuation of these institutions and patriarchy in the state while the per capita GDP is increasing.
So how are you going to deal with this? I mean, what should be the way that not only economic growth should take place, but even the social development should be there in the state? What should be the steps that can be taken?
Ma'am, firstly, it must be ensured that the growth in the state of Haryana must be balanced. That is, there is still a difference. Most of the income or taxes come from the NCR, that is Gurgaon region, and while the regions of Sirsa, Bhiwani are still backward, which, for example, which are the Bhiwani, which are the stronghold of Kha panchayats. Then there is a need for an attitudinal change, which takes time, and with the coming of the new leadership in Panchayati Raj institutions, with educated joining these institutions, grassroots democratic institutions, their stronghold is bound to decrease. And with rise in education, the young people are not adhering to the patriarchal norms, and they are mm, uh, enjoying their rights of freedom and liberty. So there has to be ensured that education, skill development, women empowerment must go hand in hand with the change in societal value.
So you talked about women empowerment. Uh, what should be the first step that the state can take in this step of women empowerment? Because we, as I already
The most important step that the government can take is that Hindu Succession Act, after the Supreme Court has given a judgment in 2005 that it should be mandated that the half of the property must go to girl. So if the girl is also economically empowered in that respect, then it will be ensured that no dowry is paid. Nobody will like to pay dowry when they have already paid, already given the girl her property. That will also lead to economic empowerment, thus empowerment of the family, and its reach is limited to a particular area and it is not extended. And it is said to have emerged in that particular area only. While that tradition is spread over a whole geographical area, and it is a mostly an urban based phenomena, and although there are interactions between the traditions, but they still maintain their distinct identity.
Okay. Okay. So, do you think that these kinds of little tradition and great tradition is playing a role regarding your differentiation between the rural areas and the urban areas, even at this moment of time, at this juncture when we have moved like so many years in the advancement or the evolution of the human history? Do you think that these things still survive and it is playing, a hurdle in the overall development of the suburban areas or the rural areas?
Ma'am, rural areas have their own traditions. For example, if we are talking about fighting the corona pandemic, then they have their own traditions with regard to, for example, they have been using kada for a number of years. They're using their angocha for covering their mouth, which the urban people find it using strange. So they have their own traditions which are helping them. at the same time they are still caste oriented society, which sometimes acts as a obstacle to the growth of the society. So it impacts both positively as well as negatively. Similar is the case with great tradition, where people in urban areas are not so much socially connected. Still, they have modernized themselves and are continuously progressing. So both cultural tradition have their positive and negatives.
Okay. Okay. So you were a cricket team captain. You have captained the team, right? So
Yes.
while your captaincy, did you face any kind of challenges while bringing the team together? Which obviously, being a leader or being a captain, you are going to lead a district now if you become, by God's grace, if you become an IS officer. So, what were the challenges that you faced, and how you tackled those challenges when you were a captain?
Ma'am, when I was a captain, my prime responsibility and a challenge also was that it has to be made sure that the best players are batting or bowling at the required positions. At that time when we were in school, everybody said that I'm the best player, so I should open, and everybody said I'm the best bowler, so I should bowl first. So it had to be made sure, based on their capabilities, how to maximize chance of winning. Similarly, in administration, after proper assessment and performance appraisal, there has to be made sure that the productivity of the organization improves, and it is for the benefit of government.
So basically, it should be a top bottom as well as a bottom up approach, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Coming to your computer science engineering, what can you precisely give me definition of artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence is a phenomena where the machine learns itself and improves upon its working through the use of self-learning mechanism and through machine learning.
Okay, so WEF gave a report recently that it is going to, because of this coming of the artificial intelligence, it is going to take a large chunk of jobs out of the humans, right? So basically, it will take the labor out of the labor force. So this is a very basic challenge, especially for a country like India, which is mostly a labor-intensive country. So, what is your take on this? Whether we should move towards this field of artificial intelligence, or should we backtrack and give more focus on keeping our labor in the labor force? What is your take on this?
Ma'am, if we want or not, artificial intelligence is going to penetrate in our lives, whether we like it or not. And it has already penetrated to a great extent. So it is true that artificial intelligence is going to take some of the jobs that are monotonous, which do not require the application of much mind, and the jobs which are repetitive in nature. While it will also create opportunities where more jobs can be created in various fields, such as data analytics, machine learning, a number of research projects can be helped in this regard. So there is a need that we ensure that artificial skill development field is being updated, and our IT professionals and other professionals are updated with the current and latest trends.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Ashish. Himanshu sir will take over now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, Ashish. How are you?
Good evening, sir. I'm fine, sir. Thank you. How are you, sir?
Good. So, Ashish, yeah, I just want to know, like, in the start, since you are from Haryana and Shweta ma'am is also talking about issues like women empowerment. In that context, do you have any idea what is the concept of missing woman?
Sir, missing woman is a concept where, due to sex selection and gender-based selection during birth, uh, a number of girls are due to there occurs female foeticide as well as infanticide, which does negatively impacted the sex ratio.
Who gave this concept?
Sir, I am not presently aware, sir.
Do you have any idea how many missing women are there in the state of Haryana alone?
Exact number, sir, I am not sure. I have read it, but I cannot recall at the moment.
Okay. Just as there is something called as missing women, which talks about the neonatal inequality, there is something called as survival inequality when it comes to women. Are you aware of this survival inequality?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can you
Sir,
please explain?
Yes, sir. Sir, it is a concept whereby even if the girl child is born, the chances of her survival up to becoming an adult are limited because of discrimination in terms of nutrition, health benefits, and other family benefits are not effectively provided to her. So there are less chances of her survival.
Okay, thank you, Ashish. Since
Thank
you have been working in the Central Board of Taxes, so few things. One, what is tax avoidance?
Sir, in tax avoidance, a assessee or a taxpayer, mm, only after being within the legitimate, within the legal parlance, tries to manipulate the taxation system. Uh, while being legal, it tries to minimize its own the the tax that has to be paid.
And what is Laffer curve?
So Laffer curve is a concept that signifies that as the taxation is increased initially, the revenue with the government increases, and when taxes reach above a certain point, then there turns out to be leakages in the system and tax evasion takes place. Thus, the overall revenue decreases.
Do you think India at present have an optimal taxation system? I mean, are we at the head of this Laffer curve?
Sir, I think after the reduction in corporate taxes, that is 25% from the earlier system, I think it is the optimum percentage. While with regard to the GST regime, the number of items in the 28% list have also been pruned, and most of the items are now in the 12 or 18% bracket. So I think, sir, mm, now the more people are coming into the tax net, while revenue has also been increasing before the pandemic time.
Ashish, recently, Mr. Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States, have announced that US will cut down the tax rate for the top percent, top 1%, top 10%. The argument that was given is this: if the tax rate on the rich will be reduced, then it will have implication on the overall GDP growth. The GDP growth will increase. Do you believe in this functioning or in this correlation or in this scenario that when the government reduces the tax for the rich, super rich, the GDP increases?
Sir, I have to analyze this phenomena. I am not presently aware, but I can only make a guess if you allow.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Sir, if we consider the case of India and America, these are two different economies. While the disparity between the rich and the poor is very high in India, which is not the case in America. So, if we impose such a tax, then it will be beneficial. For example, we had wealth tax, so it was beneficial to take some revenue, and it will be beneficial for implementing various schemes and programs. While U.S. society and economy is a different case where mm, where they have different set of laws, and the economy is based on the super rich.
Ashish, I'm not asking about wealth tax. And India used to have wealth tax till 2015-16, but the government says that the revenue generated under wealth tax was minuscule.